We're back for the afternoon session of day 4 in New Jersey versus Paul Caneiro. It's been quite the morning. And I've already heard that there are some power outages that did affect the courthouse. So we are going to join the courtroom already in session. We'll be looking at articles and reporting to find out what we missed. But as soon as they come on, we will record from there. Well, so far it's been quite interesting. I can't wait to hear what you think about some of this testimony. And on that note, I'll be doing a weekly recap with Trial TV Live. And I posted a link on the community channel over there on YouTube to the first one that we'll be doing Friday after court, where we can have a lively question and answers and discuss the topics of the week on what has happened. This is going to be a long trial going through March 20th, according to Judge Lemieux, that he instructed the jury during jury selection process that the trial could go to March 20th. And I can see with all the information that still has to come out, come in to prove we've still got, cell data or GPS vehicles or other videos and things like that. We've got other testimony coming forward, and then we're going to hear from the defense also, still, whatever case they have to present to, to change the narrative of what the prosecution is putting out. So let us get started. I hear humming, which means the audio is live. But they do appear to be, as we're coming in, I don't know how long they've been going. It is quite a while after lunch, but it does appear that they're having a sidebar.
All right, we're on the record for the afternoon. The state.
Whenever they're in sidebar and the jury cannot hear what's being discussed, Paul Caneiro has the headphones on. I'm not sure if the jury's in the room yet because we did not get to see the opening of the session. They were having trouble. There was an announcement on Law and Crime and also on the Asbury Park press feeds that the media room itself was down. There was a problem. Courthouse had power though, so it wasn't taken off grid. But there was a problem in the media room, so I'm not sure how far in we are. I do believe that actually Lieutenant now, Brady is still on the stand. We ended before lunch with Monika Mastellone for the defense doing cross. There were several sidebars, and there was also several notes from the judge about things he had already given an order in his statement on in regards to hearsay and scope. Seems to be an ongoing issue. You may not like Monika Mastallone's style, and I do get a lot in the comments about it, but she is diligent in putting her case forward here. She's got her sights set on what she wants out there, and she's going to get it out there some way, somehow. She's very determined, very determined. But it's a fine line with Judge Lemieux. Like, don't testify for the witness. Don't put words in the witness' mouth. And when I tell you to stop because you're out of scope, you need to stop. Like, it's only 4 days in, and I can see the stress ball that his staff left for him is necessary because, it's his job to keep things running on the right path, straight and forward, for the fairest trial that Paul Caneiro can get. He's the balance between both sides. He's the law. What he says goes. He's the one that gets to apply law to each of the situations, not looking at it from the defense angle and not looking at it from the prosecutor's angle, but simply looking at it from the law and the guidelines and procedures that are set in place for fair trial in our country. It's a complicated and tangled system, but it's an amazing system. And it's not perfect, but it's one of the best out there, in my humble opinion, of course. Well, this is a long sidebar, but at least we have a feed, so I'm happy about that. There are so many issues going around, repeated repeated crosses from the defense have focused on the lack of investigating anyone else, zeroing on Paul right away. There's been impeachment attempts in regards to reporting and memories. Remember, this case is 8 years old. I mean, the fact that they can keep it straight is amazing. They are allowed to refresh from their statements and the work that was done prior, and they're allowed to meet with prosecution and defense beforehand to go over everything, and it does appear that many of them have. Well, one of the things the judge is not going to allow is for you to testify for the witness, for you to testify with what you want to get out there without supporting documentation, without supporting evidence. It's just not going to happen, not in Judge Lemieux's court. We've seen it happen in other trials where the judge didn't rein things in as well. And we've seen some crazy stuff go on. But I think here, as much as they push, and no one could deny that there's not a lot of passion in that courtroom. Monika Mastellone is handling this case with great passion and aggression to hammer home the points, the limited investigation, the focusing in on Paul Caneiro, trying to put the idea out there that Keith really wasn't that mad at Paul. They've had disagreements before, that everything was going to just be fine, that he doesn't actually have a motive. But here's the thing. Even if you get rid of motive, which do you actually need 100% of the motive when the evidence, when the opportunity and the means were there? If they can place him at the scene, we still have the DNA evidence coming in. We still have all the evidence found in his house that relates to the fire that happened in Colts Neck. We have to see if there's any evidence that actually proves that he was the one that started the fire in his own home. We've got a lot still to go over. We haven't heard from forensics at all yet. You know, we haven't heard from information specialists at all yet. Who knows what they have? Remember, the records aren't public here in New Jersey. Nobody's been able to get all of this and put it out. So, as it goes, piece by piece, but I can't imagine that he said March 20th and they're going to be wrapping up next week. It's not going to happen. There's a lot more to go through. It's just the beginning. So we have to kind of reserve judgment yet, as much as like you think you know where it's going. I can assure you, none of us do. None of us. Okay, this has been going on for quite some time. I am hoping whatever this is about, that they are getting to wrap it up. I'm not even sure that they have brought the jury in yet. I read a note on another article that said that they had a discussion first with everyone up at the bench, except they didn't bring the jury in at first. So I'm hoping that the the media room thing got addressed right away. And
Can we bring the jurors back out, please? I'm sorry?
okay, jury's coming back in. So we should get started with testimony then shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you probably are aware, I've had to speak to juror number 4 for a minute. You are not in any way, shape, or form to try to ask her or to be concerned about any questions that I may have had for juror number 4. I can tell you, I just wanted to talk about the rest of you, and she was the one that I liked the most. So that's why I did it. No, I'm kidding. So everything that happened, don't worry about that. It's sometimes the court needs to do that for a particular reason. We're going to continue moving forward. There's no issue. We're going to continue with the cross-examination. But for the afternoon, I'll call it. It's State of New Jersey versus Paul Caneiro, indictment 1902-0283. Can I have the appearances of counsel for the record?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Assistant Prosecutor Nicole Wallace on behalf of the state.
Good afternoon, Judge Chris Tucker, Assistant Prosecutor for the state.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Monika, Mastellone, attorney for Mr. Paul Caneiro, who's present.
Good afternoon, Judge Andy Murray, Mr. Caneiro.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Caneiro. All right, Ms. Mastellone, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. I want to return to just a discussion we were having earlier this morning about the search of Mr. Caneiro's vehicle in the driveway, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember that conversation?
Yes.
And during that conversation that you and I had, you acknowledged that, or you discussed the consent form, correct?
Correct.
And again, on the consent form, it says there's a provision on it where you can say Mr. Caneiro can indicate whether he waives or does not waive his right to be present for the search, correct?
Correct.
The form says he waived it, correct?
I believe so, yes.
You believe so? Do you want to see that? I'm approaching with a good witness with what is S93. So you saw this earlier this morning, correct?
Yes.
And you remember that it when you read it out loud to the jury, you explained that it says I have the right to be present while the search is conducted. I waive or do not waive this right, and waive is circled.
Correct.
Okay. And you indicated to the jurors that that was a mistake of some sort.
Yes.
And then when I asked you, okay, so like where did the search take place? You said it was in the driveway, right?
Yes.
Right where the car was parked.
Yes.
And that's within the crime scene tape area.
Yes.
And within the crime scene tape area, you had brought in Mr. Caneiro within the area in the driveway to view the search.
Yes.
You said he was like 10 feet away from the vehicle, maybe 10, 15?
Approximately.
Okay. I'm approaching the witness with the same exhibits that I cited earlier. It's D1-43 through D1-49. So, Detective, let me show. So, Officer, Detective, Lieutenant, do you recognize this? What's happening in this photo?
Yes.
Okay, what's happening in that photo?
This photographs the two vehicles in the driveway.
And it appears the hood is up
The hood is up.
of
Correct.
the one vehicle,
Of the McCann, yes.
of the McCann, and that's the vehicle that Mr. Caneiro consented be searched, correct?
Correct.
And specifically at the time that you asked for consent to search, you wanted to look under the hood of the vehicle, correct?
The fire marshal is one conducting the main search. He was looking for extension of the fire.
Okay, and do you see the fire marshal in that photo? Maybe it's hard to tell, but there's some uniformed
There's
firemen.
multiple firemen with fire gear on.
Okay.
I'm not sure if his back is turned. I'm not positive.
Okay, well, the hood is up and it appears that this is the search of the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And I'm going to show you another one. It's almost exactly the same,
Yes.
just a little bit of a different angle, correct? You can
Yes.
see a little more of the driveway. Now I'm going to show you one that's a little bit more zoomed in. And this is,
Ms. Mastellone, do you just mind just when you're doing each one, just to say the number on the back?
sure, the first photo that we looked at was 1-43, then 1-44, and now we're on 1-45.
Thank you.
Okay, does that also depict the search?
We're standing in the driveway. The hood is now closed in this picture.
The hood is now closed. And here is, do you recognize this gentleman?
It's Detective Catalona.
This is Detective Catalona, and he has a camera in his hand, correct?
Correct.
So he's photographing the search.
Yes.
And we do have photos. Have you seen the photos of the search?
Perhaps. It's been many years.
Here's another photograph where it appears he's photographing like the inside of the vehicle.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ms. Mastellone, could you say that?
Sorry, the one I just showed was 1-47 and the one before that was 1-46. They're in consecutive order.
Thank you.
And so finally, I'm going to show you 1-49, which is another angle of the search. In this photograph, we see the full driveway, correct?
Correct.
And you can see the taped off area.
Yes.
Okay, but what we don't see is Mr. Caneiro anywhere near the vehicle that's being searched.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna publish them. So just so the jury has the benefit of knowing what I was referencing, if I can have it on them. So, officer, this is D1-43. I showed you this photograph and you acknowledged that this is a photograph of the search. We can see that the hood to the vehicle of the McCann is up, correct?
Correct.
And you agreed that the reason why the hood is up is because the officers or the fire marshal specifically wanted to look under the hood of the car, right?
Yes.
And that's because this is where the burn marks on the hood were, and there were concerns about that, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then we have another photograph. This is D1-44, and this is, again, just another photo of the search. It's a very similar photo, correct?
Yes.
And then I'm gonna show 1-45. This is a little bit more zoomed in. You can kind of just see some of the people that were involved. And this is Detective Catalona, correct? And just for the record, he's the individual with the beard who's closest to the vehicle with like a black attire and a reflective stripe. This is D1-46, and we can see the Detective Catalona now has a camera in his hand where it appears he's taking photographs of the search, correct?
Correct.
And then D1-47, we can see that Detective Catalona appears to be taking photos of inside of the vehicle because, again, this is the search that is taking place, correct?
Correct.
And then we have D1-49, and this is the entire driveway area where we can see the taped off crime scene area, correct?
Yes.
And we can see the same, they're far away, but we can see the same individuals in the photo, correct?
It appears so.
And we see the Jeep in the driveway, right?
Yes.
And what we don't see is anywhere 10 to 15 feet away, Mr. Caneiro in the driveway observing the search, correct?
Not in this image.
Now, another thing I wanted to just talk about was we talked earlier about how you had the opportunity, and you discussed it in your report, that you reviewed the body-worn camera footage in this case, right?
Yes.
And part of that included video of when Officer Redman, originally approached the shed and was observing the stones, right? And the potential footprints that were seen?
Correct.
Okay. Judge, there being no objection from the state, I'm just gonna show a 1-minute clip of some body-worn camera footage that this witness has indicated he's reviewed.
Okay, just tell us what the exhibit number is, if you don't mind.
Sorry, Judge. I believe it's 106.
S or D?
D106.
D106,
Yeah,
okay.
Body worn camera of Officer Redmond, ending 3926.
Okay. We're in the audio's off. Okay, I'm just gonna show the video for you to view, okay?
In the upper left corner.
Do you recognize that as the shed?
Yes.
He had a problem.
Or maybe, you have to mute it, it's not muted. Okay. We just saw a lot of flashing lights, correct?
In the background?
Yes.
Yes.
And those are all of the responders who are here on scene at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just to orient ourselves. We can stop it around here. Thank you. So this was the video of Officer Redmond near the shed, correct?
Yes.
And what we can't see from the video, we see him shining his flashlight at the stones, correct?
Yes.
Where we later learned there was a footprint, right? But we can't see the actual footprint, right?
Correct.
So nothing related to this footprint was preserved, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we can put those on. With respect to the garage area where the DVR had been retrieved, did you observe that area? Did you go into the garage yourself?
I'm sure at some point I was in the garage, yes.
Okay. Now, at some point, you also had a conversation with Mr. Caneiro, correct?
Reference to,
We had multiple conversations with him,
I did.
right? One of those conversations centered around his DVR system, and he mentioned something, or his cameras, and he mentioned something, I think you testified, you mentioned something about a firewall and connectivity issues or something.
that's correct.
Did I say
Yes.
that correctly? Okay. So did you at any point go into the garage and look at the area of where the DVR was retrieved from to see like what was going on in that location?
I believe at some point it was shown to me where the DVR was located.
Did you look at the wires and the plugs and whatever items were in there to see what potentially was connected to what?
I did not.
Did you take note of where the outlets were? Were they behind the refrigerator? Were they more accessible? Was there a power strip? Anything along those lines to try to understand better what Mr. Caneiro was indicating about a connectivity issue?
I did not.
And you didn't ask him in that moment either, correct?
No.
Okay. And is it fair to say that what you're writing down is probably not verbatim what he's saying to you? You're summarizing?
Correct. In my notes?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, in your report.
A report verbatim, not always, no.
Okay. And so we're talking about would you agree if we're talking about a technological issue, it's a little bit technical?
It sounded it.
Okay, it sounded it. And so the word you meant that you recall him saying is a firewall.
Correct.
And is that something that are you familiar with what a firewall is?
I couldn't define it for you, but I know it has to do with computers and things like that.
Computers and things like that. Okay. And when you went into the garage, did you take note of certain access points that were located in different areas in the garage and also the house?
Access points to what? I don't recall.
Another question I have is, when you wanted to know whether or not the cameras were actually recording and whether there was any information on that system, why didn't you just ask Mr. Caneiro, hey, can you just pull it up on your phone? Do you have access? Can we see it? Can we check it? Let's see if it's working.
I think at that point in time, since the DVR had already been secured as evidence, we just view it off of that.
Okay, but that took time, right?
You viewed it later, yes.
And didn't you want to know as soon as possible that, like, who could have set this fire since it was already a crime scene and you wanted to know like maybe who did it?
Decided to view it off the DVR.
Okay. Now, you were there when Detective Catalona from the prosecutor's office, forensics, was processing the scene.
Yes.
Do you recall whether that French door that was unlocked, whether that door was processed?
I do not recall that, no.
Okay, you don't know if that was like.
I didn't necessarily follow him around, so I
Okay.
I don't know.
Being the lead detective on the case, do you now have any knowledge of that or no?
Not that I can recall.
Would that have? So we talked about, other things you did on scene. Are you walking around like kind of like monitoring what your patrol officers are doing? I mean, like what are you doing mostly on scene?
Depends on what was occurring at the time, but yes, take an overview of the situation, keeping an eye on people involved, watching what the fire marshals are doing so I can learn and see what they're figuring out. Yes, there's a lot to watch and listen.
And at one point did you talk to any of the neighbors?
Yes,
Okay, and obviously without saying anything they said, do you recall which neighbors you talked to?
that day,
Yes.
spoke to Jonathan Harrington.
Okay, you spoke to Jonathan Harrington, and you then later got a formal statement from him, correct?
Yes,
You also, and you were there, you were present for that statement.
I believe so, yes.
Would seeing a copy of the statement refresh your recollection as to
Yes.
whether you were there?
Lieutenant, will you take your word for it if it's on the form?
I believe I was present for his statement.
Okay, he was there. Go ahead, you can ask your next question.
Okay, so you acknowledge that you were present for Jonathan Harrington's statement, correct? And you also acknowledge that there was another neighbor, Heather Capp. You were also present for her statement as well, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so again, not asking you to repeat anything that was said by either of them, but you know what they said.
yes,
Okay. And despite knowing what they said, those interviews took place so you spoke to Jonathan Harrington that day, right?
correct.
And then you took the formal interviews. The one of Jonathan Harrington was on November 27th, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
That's 7 days later.
Yes,
Well, I don't want to, if that's what it says. Do you want to look at it?
sure.
Okay. Do you have a statement with you? Okay. I'm going to approach with what has been marked as S82 for identification, and you recognize this, correct?
Yes,
This is Jonathan Harrington's statement.
yes,
It was taken at the Ocean Township Police Department.
correct,
And it was taken on November 27th,
correct,
right? And the one of Heather Capp was taken December 17th.
correct.
Okay. Now, knowing what they said, right? Would you disagree with me that it would have been maybe even more important to try to retrieve surveillance video from the other side of Tilton to find out what happened at 4:30 in the morning?
I stated before that we did attempt to obtain surveillance footage from the street that day.
Okay, that day, right? But coincidentally, the only videos we have are from one side, correct?
Yes,
And there's no documentation in your report that says we went to this house and yes or no they had it. We went to this house and yes or no they had it. We went to this house and yes or no they had it. We went to this house, they weren't home, we came back. There's nothing like that in your report, correct?
It's been gone over several times. Is there anything that you didn't say before about the cameras that you want to say now?
no, sir.
All right, we know the answers.
And just to be clear though, you did have other other officers assist you, correct?
Yes,
And one of those officers was Officer Melody,
Correct.
Or is it Detective
He was a
Melody?
detective, yes.
And Detective Melody, he wrote a report, correct?
I believe you did, yes.
And in his report, the only house he references getting surveillance from is 19 Oxford.
I'm going to object to the hearsay.
Yeah, it is hearsay, sustained.
Based on your review, you know that the only house that he went to is 19 Oxford, based on his report.
Based off of his report, yes. I would assume so.
And the other two officers who assisted you, in addition to Detective Melody, you testified before, those were Martin and Orbach, correct?
Correct.
And neither of those officers, are they officers, detectives?
Martin was my supervisor. He was Sergeant Martin at the time,
Okay,
and it was Detective Warbuck.
okay, and neither of them even have a report? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And on the 27th, you referenced several times that you referenced no, tell me if I'm wrong. You referenced several times the canvas for the surveillance video on the 20th, correct?
Yes.
You keep saying like that day, right?
Yes.
But in fact, you personally, with Detective Weisbrot, went back to the area 7 days later on November 27th, correct?
Perhaps I'd have to double check my report. We did go back. I'm not specifically positive on the day that we went back.
Would seeing a copy of your report help refresh your
Yes.
recollection? Sir, you've seen your report before, correct?
Yes.
Now, just to give a little bit of context, in this case, your report, along with every other Ocean Township officer, with the exception of Bernhard, created a report that was encompassed in one large report, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is like the whole thing. It's S72 is 72 pages actually, right?
Correct.
You've seen this?
Yes.
But I'm going to direct you to your report, which starts on page 38. Okay, and then I'm going to direct you recognize this as your report?
Yes.
You agree it's your report?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to direct your attention to page 57 of 72. And I'm going to ask that you read to yourself this last paragraph here. Just that last paragraph there. Okay, so on November 27th, you and Detective Weisbrot go to the area of 27 Tilton, correct?
Yes.
And specifically, you go to 29 Tilton, right?
Correct.
Which we know is like the next house over.
Yes.
And the reason for it is because it's part of your continuing canvass, right?
Yes.
And you memorialize that no one was home, so you left your business card, correct?
Yes.
And you went there after you spoke to Jonathan Harrington, correct? That same day.
Yes.
All right. So again, despite that, you never make your way over to the other side of the street on the 27th and try to see if anyone has any videos on that entire side of the street.
Correct.
Now, at some point, you ask Mr. Caneiro, his wife Susan Caneiro, and one daughter who was there to come back to the police station, correct?
Yes,
And the reason for that is because you wanted to take statements from them and
Yes.
see, what if any information they had. Now, they, as you testified to in direct, they asked for time to, I think you said, to like get changed and get cleaned up. I think that's what you said on direct.
more or less, yes.
Okay. But also it was they wanted to eat and shower and get clothes because a couple of them had run out of the house without shoes that day. Do you recall that?
I do not recall who was wearing shoes and who was not wearing shoes.
Do you recall when you were reviewing the body-worn camera footage that you took note in your report that you observed Mr. Caneiro not wearing shoes?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so you at some point learned that at least Mr. Caneiro had no shoes.
Correct.
Now, at some point, are you aware that like neighbors offered them clothing or something like that?
I believe that's what occurred, yes.
Okay, so I just want to, I'm not trying to, there were, initially, Mr. Caneiro, to your knowledge, had no shoes, but ultimately neighbors were trying to give clothes, right? And shoes to assist. Okay, but what they wanted to do was change into their clothes, right? Is what they were expressing to you, unless I'm wrong.
How do we know what they want? How does this witness know what they want to do? Sustained. No, that's not what they said. That's not specifically what they said. What did they tell you that they wanted to do?
Wanted a little bit of time to get cleaned up,
That's what they told you.
I believe, yes.
Okay. Just asking you not to put words into the detective's mouth.
Judge, can we approach?
No, not right now. Keep going. You can approach afterwards unless you feel you can't continue.
I just need a moment.
Take as much time as you need.
So I'm going to approach you with your report again, okay?
Yes.
And I'm going to take you to page 43 of 72. I'm going to direct your attention to this paragraph here, where you indicate the family requested some time to find new clothes and get cleaned up prior to responding to headquarters. Were those your words?
Yes.
Okay, so when I say new clothes, am I putting words in your mouth or is that what you wrote?
That's what I wrote.
Okay, so to be clear, I'm not trying to.
Can I have counsel up here, please?
I don't think the judge was commenting on the word new for clothes. He was commenting on the way that she was categorizing the statement that Lieutenant Brady made. I don't think that this defense attorney is doing herself any good by trying to defend herself against what judges have already ordered on. this is not going to play well. I mean, she's just like, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, instead of just moving on. That statement still means when he said that they asked to get washed up, freshen up before going forward. It still means the same thing. She can't twist it to mean something else. It's not even a matter of trying to impeach the witness. What she's trying to do is make an outright allegation of impropriety. And that is serious.
The Caneiros wanted time before they went to the police station, correct?
Yes.
And what was your response to them?
I advised them that I would like them to come to the police station as quick as possible.
And did you also say that the reason why you wanted them to go as quick as possible is because as time goes on, their memory of events will not be as accurate?
Correct.
So you were concerned that if they took a little bit of time to get new clothes or cleaned up, that would affect their ability to somehow relate to you what had happened 7 hours earlier.
Could, yes.
Okay, so then based on that, they agree, right?
Yes.
And they follow you or you follow them, you tell me, to the police station, correct?
I believe I followed them.
Okay, so you follow them to the police station. This is the Ocean Township Police Department.
Yes.
And you testified that when you got there, you had them wait in the lobby.
Yes.
And did you tell them like this will be quick at first? Because you didn't know about the 15 Willowbrook situation yet?
I don't recall if I gave them a time frame.
Okay. So you had them sit in the lobby for some time. And then you testified that you brought them down to the basement?
More or less of the building, yes. It's just where the detective is located.
Okay, and that's specifically into a conference room, correct?
Yes.
And you put all 4 of the Caneiros in there?
Yes.
And is there cell phone service in that conference room?
Yes.
There is, okay. And at some point, though, you separated the family members into interview rooms.
At some point, they were separate for their statements, yes.
Okay, but not one by one. You separated like 2 from one from another.
Yeah, I
Do you
don't recall
that?
which room everyone was in the detective used separate offices to take the statements.
And did you lock those rooms? Did you lock them in the rooms?
I don't believe so.
Now, at one point, the family members, you testified they were very upset. They were learning what was happening, right?
Yes.
And they learned it, I think you said initially through a family friend,
The original fire.
the original fire.
Correct. They received it. Someone in the family received a text message.
And then later they're learning through media updates about someone being deceased at 15 Willowbrook.
Yes.
And you said they're demanding answers.
What? Yes.
And approximately what time is this?
1:30 to 2:30 ball. I don't remember. 2 o'clock?
Okay.
I'm not sure.
And when they're demanding answers, like what do they want? They want to know what? Like what's happening?
Sustained speculation.
Why didn't you give them answers to their questions?
Didn't necessarily have much information other than what I'm reading in a CAD entry narrative.
Well, do you have like phone contact with Colts Next detectives and officers
I did
and
not at that
the
time.
prosecutor's office?
I did not speak to Colts Next detectives at that time, no.
But did you have access to a phone to call them?
Suppose I did, yes.
Okay, and you didn't though, right?
No.
So they're learning like there's a big issue at their family's home, a fire, someone's dead, and they're demanding answers. And you do what?
They requested us to check on their other family, which we did for them.
Okay, yes. Mr. Caneiro asked that you testified about that on direct, right?
Yes,
You testified that Mr. Caneiro asked you to call his parents, right, to make sure they were okay.
we ended up sending police officers there. I didn't call them.
Sorry?
We sent the NYPD to their house. I did not call his parents.
Okay, he wanted a wellness check.
Yes,
And this was before they learned anyone was deceased, because you mentioned on direct, they said don't mention the fire.
fire and people deceased are two different things. I don't recall the time frame of when they learned of when they found out there was fatalities in Colts Neck versus when we did these wellness checks. They knew of the fire,
They knew of the fire.
and that's what he asked me not to tell them about.
And you didn't.
I did not. I instructed the NYPD officer not to do so, and to my knowledge, she did not.
Right, that you indicate law enforcement honored that request, right?
To the best that I could make sure, yes.
So is it fair to say then that, of course, like, we're talking about a fire because if their son was dead, they would tell them, you as law enforcement wouldn't withhold that information just because Paul Caneiro was asking you to, right?
Objection.
What's your objection?
I don't understand the question. I don't understand what's being asked as a compound question.
It is a compound question. That also sustain it too, to the form.
Mr. Caneiro does not have any authority over you, does he? Okay, so when he asks you for a favor, such as checking in on his family, you don't have to do that, right? That's your choice.
As the police, we're there to help people, and if he wants us to do a welfare check on someone, we have a duty to do so.
Well, no one can just say, hey, I want a welfare check. You have to have like a basis, right? Okay, and here there was a basis,
Yes,
right? But then he also, according to you in your direct testimony, Mr. Caneiro also asks, please don't tell them about the fire, right?
yes,
And you honor that request.
as I stated.
Okay, because at that point, there was no information that anyone was deceased yet.
The original call came out with one fatality in Colts Neck.
What original call?
To Colts Neck, the call when the prosecutor's office was alerted to a second fire in Colts Neck,
Mhm.
and we looked into it in our computer system that shares information with
CAD?
Colts Neck, the CAD. We learned in the narrative venture that there was a body in the ground in front of the house.
So then my next question is, why did they have to learn through the media that someone was dead at their family's house?
Objection, relevance.
I don't understand the relevance. Ms. Mastellone, do you want to tell me what the relevance is?
It goes to the circumstances of their investigation, how they're treating Mr. Caneiro and his family, the credibility of not just this detective, but the officer, the way that they tried to make it seem like he was trying to hide information from his family by saying, don't tell them about the fire. I mean, there's a host of reasons why this is relevant.
Sustained. It's not relevant.
If you as law enforcement felt that Mr. Caneiro was trying to manipulate something or withhold critical information, you would not have honored that request, correct?
Can you state that again?
If Mr. Caneiro didn't want you to tell his parents something for a bad reason, you wouldn't have honored the request. You would have said, no, we're going to tell them what we want to tell them.
No. My interpretation of him not asking us to inform his parents of the fire was to not concern his parents that something was happening.
Okay. He explained that to you.
I don't know if that was our exact conversation, but that was my understanding. That was my reason to honor his request, because he didn't want to overly concern his parents at that point in time.
Okay, because they're old. Did he explain that?
However old they are, I don't know how old they are.
Had a heart condition? Do you recall that?
No, I don't.
Eventually, was there, before you brought, at some point when the family is either in the lobby or when you first brought them down to the basement, do you recall a point in time where Katie Caneiro wanted to leave and she was told she couldn't leave?
Yes, perhaps.
Okay. And eventually at 11 p.m., I think you said on direct, that's when they left, right?
approximately.
I think, and that's, in your report, you said that's when they could leave, right?
Okay,
Yes?
that's what my report says.
So that would mean that prior to that, they could not leave, right?
The reason why I did not want her to leave originally is because we did not know what was happening to the family at that point in time. They were escorts to the detective bureau for their safety.
So you wanted to bring them down into the basement for their safety, correct?
Yes.
And that was at, you said 2 p.m.?
No, that was earlier than that.
1 p.m.
It was around 1,
Approximately?
approximately.
Okay, approximately 1. So now we're gonna go from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., right? And it's 10 hours later,
Yes.
and now they can leave, now it's safe.
They were allowed to leave.
Okay, you're no longer concerned about their safety, correct?
When they decided to leave, when they were leaving, I knew exactly where they were going, who they were staying with, and I had the police department do a check on those residences. So I continued to care.
Where did they go?
They each went to a different house.
Do you know where?
It's in my report.
They gave you the addresses and you're indicating that you sent.
At least sent the West Long Ranch Police Department to that to do routine checks on that house. Mrs. Caneiro stayed in Ocean Township, so our officers were well aware of what was happening. And I do not remember where the other daughter stayed.
Okay. So at 11 p.m., they can leave as long as they give you their address and you have an officer check on where they are once in a while, right?
Yes,
And you're testifying that that did in fact happen,
that what happened?
that officers went there and they circled the house periodically
That was
to
my
make sure
request to
everything was
West Long Ranch Police. Whether that they honored that, I cannot tell you.
okay. Did they, do you, when the family was demanding answers, you still wanted to interview them, correct? Even though they found out what's happening with their family and that something was wrong, you wanted them to stay and be interviewed, correct?
Yes,
And like you said, their interviews didn't take place till 3 or 4 o'clock.
yes,
Okay,
approximately.
so hours after they got there and after they find out what's happening with their family.
Yes,
So they're being interviewed after knowing that there's a fire and at least one or more family members are deceased.
Objection. Again, it's the relatives.
She wants to ask the question. Go ahead. Go ahead. Lieutenant, answer the question.
yes, we did still want to take statements from them.
Did you ever leverage information as a basis for saying, like, if you just give us an interview, then we'll let you know what's going on with the family?
Objection.
Please come up here, please. So the question that was asked to this witness was something to the effect of, again, I'm summarizing, whether this detective, now lieutenant, leveraged the fact of getting a statement against or from the Caneiro family members, the daughters and maybe the mother, I don't know, to get statements from them so that, and then they would be able to leave at some point, something to that effect. But leveraging information. So basically making an allegation against this detective that he did something improper. I then brought counsel to the sidebar and I asked about this and whether that there was anything that was provided or whether there was a good faith basis to ask this question. And I was told by Ms. Mastellone that there may be information, and yes, she does have a good faith basis from family members. Prosecutors indicated at that point in time that they were not in possession of any information as it relates to this at all. They've attempted to speak to the Caneiros in the past. I'm talking about Susan and the kids, and they had been unable to do so for a period of time. I summarize this only because now I'm going to have an oral argument on the issue of the fact that no discovery was turned over about an allegation against this officer so that the state would have the opportunity to respond to it. I will start with the defense and ask your position, because you cited a case and I want to give you the opportunity to lay that out on the record. I just want to do it outside the presence of the jury so we don't have anybody hearing anything, as to exactly your position as to why you do not feel that you had to turn this over at this point. I'm not saying never, but at this point. So go ahead.
Sure, Judge. The case that I'm relying on is State versus Tier, which is, I don't have it in front of me. If the court wants to give me about 2 minutes, I can pull it up. But TIER, and I believe it's like a 2016-ish case. And in that case, it was very similar. In that case, the defense had indicated that it had certain witnesses that it intended to call. The state wanted a proffer or a report. The defense indicated there is no proffer. There is no report. Nothing was memorialized. And I don't have to give you a proffer because I am entitled, meaning the defense, to a confidential Sixth Amendment investigation, and I'm entitled to have a defense that I don't have to hand over to the state. And in that case, I believe the trial court initially said, well, you have to turn over a proffer at least, and it went up on appeal. And I don't recall off the top of my head if it's an appellate division or Supreme Court. Might be Supreme Court, that said the trial court erred and the defense attorney did not have to provide a report, nor did the defense attorney have to provide a proffer. But upon request from the court, the defense attorney could have to tell the state whether or not their witnesses were fact witnesses or character witnesses. And that's the extent of which the court can control what information the defense turns over to the state. Now, I will also add that at this point in time, obviously no witnesses have been called yet. The state indicated that these witnesses were on their witness list. It was anticipated that they were going to call them. And I understand that in recent time, they haven't had contact with them, but there are multiple reports where they have had contact with them. These aren't witnesses they've never spoken to before. They spoke to them on the 20th. In fact, this
November 20th, 2018.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not recent. It's when the date of the incident occurred, which is the date you're alleging that maybe something was leveraged to get them to give that particular statement, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying. They spoke to them the day of. So they were there. Like, this detective was there. I'm not asking an officer who wasn't there whether this happened.
You're about to accuse a lieutenant of whether he leveraged information. Well, you did basically by asking that question. You're saying that you have a good faith basis to ask the question, which I respect. You say you do. Again, I respect that also. But I need to read the case that says that you have the ability to do that and that the state can be completely blinded by the fact that you even have any of this information. The state had no chance to respond to this information, to even know what was going on. It doesn't matter to me right now of whether Susan's going to be called or the kids are going to be called. The allegation right now deals with this witness and you having information that's in your possession. How long have you had it in your possession, just so that the record is clear?
Judge, I don't.
How long?
First of all,
I'm asking you. The court's asking you a question. How long have you had this in your possession, just so that I know?
From approximately maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Let me hear from the state.
I mean, to be honest with you, Ms. Mastellone knows, and you know, she's actually made attempts to serve as like an intermediary between the state and Ms. Caneiro. We actually had an appointment to meet with Ms. Caneiro on September 5th, 2018. That was the day it was the day that they argued that Mr. Caneiro should be released as a result of the appeal to the Supreme Court.
You're talking about 2025, not 2018.
Sorry.
So that date is September 12th, 2025.
Ms. Wallace had actually spoken to Ms. Caneiro. She was very nice, my understanding of the conversation. She agreed to meet with us. Then we had to be here in court. She came for the first time in 8 years to court and watched the arguments to have her husband released. And we had to cancel that appointment. Other attempts recently to try to meet with her and her daughters. We've had to go serve, the detectives had to go to her home to serve her because it's the only way we could make sure that they potentially, be aware of when, that they were under subpoena. They told us through Ms. Mastellone, well, actually, Ms. Caneiro told Ms. Wallace that, she didn't want to meet, but she would get up on the stand and tell the truth. I mean, I got to be honest. I'd love the defense to call Ms. Caneiro and the two daughters in their case, but obviously I don't control that fact. I'd love to cross-examine them about being leveraged. There were attorneys there that day on Mr. Caneiro's behalf at the Ocean Township Police Department, two, in fact, one of which gave a statement in his case, which was sort of intimated when Lieutenant Brady was asked questions about Cap and Harrington. There's also another statement, and we haven't chose to use that witness because I would imagine they're going to argue it's attorney-client privilege, but that's neither here nor there. I haven't really reviewed this case. I see it was a matter, I believe Ms. Mastellone worked for the law firm that handled it at the time, and I believe, I could be wrong. So obviously, we're not necessarily aware off the top of our heads about this case law. My understanding is that, if they were to document something based upon a conversation with Mrs. Caneiro and or the daughters, that, the law, the discovery rules, I would think, courtesy would dictate that would be provided to the state. I mean, that's just my baseline 22 years of practicing law understanding. But again, I'd have to look further. I mean, I would welcome the opportunity to cross-examine all three of them about this information, but
I'm going to take a break. I hear you. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to read this case. I'll take a look at it. I am not familiar with it, so I'm going to go read it, and then I'm going to come back and render a decision about my findings as to this discovery issue. Can you just tell the jurors more that it's going to be a little bit more time?
There's going to be a break, and this is unusual, to say the least. It's definitely going to be a matter of law. It's definitely not a good thing for the prosecution to be blindsided. It's also definitely not anything I've seen, just public allegations against an officer without no knowledge or anything going through. And, well, if she documented any phone call, statement, or anything with these witnesses, then she's in violation of discovery. However, there's a little loophole to that. I do believe if it wasn't documented, if it's like, say, a phone call or something that they said in passing, and it's part of their strategy, well, of course, the Sixth Amendment requires it says that they are not required to give their strategy over to prosecution. They're not. And these witnesses are on the state's list. So we may be hearing from them one way or another. It sounds like somebody's going to be calling them. But what bothers me is saying that you need a statement from someone before they leave. And also they had the other fire in the homicides. And we have Paul Caneiro. The allegation is that the whole thing was set up to make it look like the whole family was being targeted. So of course the police are trying to protect them, and they are keeping them there for a while until they figure things out. I don't really find that unreasonable. I think that is due diligence in doing their job and being responsible. But of course, the defense is going to twist it that they were pressured to give statements against Paul. At this point, Paul is not arrested. He's not been told he's a suspect. They have some questions, yes, from things that they found. But to take it that far, that they weren't allowed to leave to go get changed, that is some kind of intimidation tactic until they give a statement. Well, this is like throwing spaghetti at the wall. This is another part of this defense team throwing anything they can out there to get anything they can removed and to put it out there. And I have to admire their passion. But I will say, I really don't think the judge admires how they're doing it. She's really rubbing the judge the wrong way in her attitude, in her persistence, in not listening to him. When he has, how many times, it's only the day 4, and how many times has he said, irrelevant, out of scope, we've already had an order on this, that you need to stay within the guidelines. I mean, it's only day 4. Can you imagine what day 25 is going to be like? Anyway, let's take a quick break, and when they return, we'll start up again. George is returning to the room. We shall hear where we're going with this issue now.
Or it's 228 NJ 555. It is a 2017 case. I agree with Ms. Mastellone that what she says is what it says in this case. I was not familiar with this case. I was surprised by it. In all my years of doing this, this is not my understanding, but I follow the law as the Supreme Court says it. So with that being said, I'm going to allow the defense to ask the question. If they didn't memorialize the information, seems like they don't need to.
Can I ask one question just to
Sure.
clarify? I guess the question becomes, I wanted to make sure it was very clear that this was not memorialized in a report or in some sort of summary regarding this interaction with any of these witnesses.
Judge, I can represent that this is part of the reason that was expressed to me why the family wishes not to speak to the state, because they felt mistreated in a variety of different ways, not by these particular prosecutors, but just overall. And the state is obviously prosecuting Mr. Caneiro. So that's how that's
Okay.
how I learned this information. And I don't know what else to say.
All right. So there's nothing written, or there's no statement, and there's no oral statement memorialized. That's what Ms. Mastellone is saying. She's saying
This was a phone conversation.
I mean, my only question too
No,
is,
just to be clear, I did not memorialize that conversation.
that's what I assumed you meant. But go ahead.
the only thing I would note, obviously I had a chance to read the case pretty briefly, but I do note that one of the prior cases addressed in tier would be discusses the idea of, you know, the theory behind this being is that they don't have to reveal information early in time that may be, extremely helpful to a criminal.
I get it. This is not dealing with
inculpatory.
and this is not, and these instances were pre-trial. It's not in the middle of trial, even though it's kind of mentioned about trial in here. But based upon the way I read the opinion, that the Supreme Court has made it clear that if it's not memorialized, they basically don't have to prove anything, and they don't have to do a single thing. It's on the state to do everything, and it's not the defense's job to give up their defense and or how they want to handle moving forward.
It's just the system we work in, Your Honor.
Judge, just so the record is clear, the state knows this too, that the 20th wasn't the only day that they spoke to Susan Caneiro, for example. There were other days also, just
With his attorney at the time, Paul Caneiro's attorney, representing the entire family. And there were times where our detectives met them at the house in order to like get a key so they didn't have to like destroy a safe or things like that. So yes, at that time, that is somewhat true.
So it wasn't for more reasons statement-wise, it was for other reasons?
That is my recollection based upon everything off the top of my head without looking at everything. Yes, there's no second statement from any of those individuals.
There is in December, it was the next month, it's memorialized, and I can't recall off the top, it might even be Detective Brady's report or Petrozello's, but it was to ask follow-up questions or something like that.
Okay. If it's documented, it's so documented. Can we get our lieutenant back in?
The only question I was just trying to remember off the top of my head without having it in front of me was like, are they on the defense witness list?
I don't know.
Our original trial memo said that we reserve the right to call any named person in the state's discovery.
Okay.
And I just imagine any of the other defense witnesses that are on the list, there's no other reports for any of those people.
Correct. I have nothing.
This is just strategy. Get it.
Okay. So we can have our lieutenant back in, please. Once the lieutenant is comfortable and seated, we can bring the jurors back in.
Well, she's going to be able to ask the questions, but I don't know if it's really going to pan out the way she says. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if there was real intimidation there. Well, the question is open.
I indicated to you I would try to do that at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, but sometimes that just can't happen. Unfortunately, this was one of those times I had to address it right now. So I apologize for the delay in leaving you in there. I wish there was windows in there, but there's not. We got some nice pictures up there. A little bit about the county if you want to take a look. But otherwise, I apologize to you for the delay in keeping you in there. But we are now ready to go. The issue has been dealt with, and now we'll proceed. So Ms. Mastellone is going to re-ask the question that she was asking before. Go ahead.
Sir, the question was simply this. At the time so you're at the police station, Ocean Township Police Department with the Caneiro family, correct?
In the afternoon?
On November
Yes.
20th of 2019, right?
Yes.
From approximately 1 o'clock up to 11 o'clock p.m., correct?
Yes.
Or maybe it was noon, it was actually noon, so we're talking like 12 hours or so. And during that time, we know that the family eventually learned through the media that their family members from 15 Willowbrook, at least some of them were deceased, correct?
I believe that we knew that there was fatalities, and it was at the house. I don't recall what time we received positive identifications of anyone.
Okay. And at some point, despite them having learned something was happening with their family, you still wanted to take statements from them at the police department, correct?
Yes.
And at any point, are you aware, not saying you personally, are you aware of any officers at that time who were leveraging information about what was going on with the family as a mechanism to get statements from them?
I am not.
You're not aware.
I'm not aware.
And Judge, I don't have anything further. Thank you.
I have nothing to.
Sir, you can step down. Thank you. State, call the next witness.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Sergeant Daniel Mazzucol.
Hello, sir. Just watch your step, if you don't mind. You put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Once you're seated and comfortable, can you state your full name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Sergeant Daniel Mazzucol, Mazzucol.
All right. Thank you, sir. Prosecutor, when you're ready.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you tell us where you were?
Bob date, I was sitting as a patrol officer at the firehouse number 2 in Colts, New Jersey.
You may not have heard. Just wanted to ask you where it is that you currently work.
Oh, sure. Colts Township PD.
Okay, approximately how long have you been a police officer with the Colts Neck Police Department?
15 years now.
Okay. Now, did you have any police experience prior to Colts Neck, or did you start there?
I started in Colts Neck.
Okay. Now, in order to become a police officer with the Colts Neck Police Department, did you have to complete any mandatory training?
Yes, I had to go to the police academy.
Okay. Which police academy did you go to?
Monmouth County.
Okay. Now, I want to draw your attention back to November 20th of 2018. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Okay. And were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
And were you working a particular shift? How did that work that day?
I was working a day shift.
Okay, what's the day shift with the Colts Neck Police Department back in November of 2018?
It runs from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Now, I want to draw your attention specifically to approximately 12:34 p.m. Do you remember that time?
Yes.
And can you tell us what, if anything, happened, or what, if anything, you learned at around that time?
I believe I was called for a structure fire call.
Okay. Did you get an address or a location or an area or anything like that?
It occurred on Minebrook Road.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Off the top of my head, I don't recall that.
You're talking about the location of the incident?
Yes.
Okay, Willowbrook?
Willowbrook, that's correct.
Do you remember where, I think you started to say it earlier, do you remember where you were when you got the call?
I was at firehouse number 2.
Okay, within Colts Neck?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result of getting this call, did you respond anywhere?
Yes, I attempted to respond to the residents.
Okay. Now, back in 2018, did patrol vehicles in Colts Neck, for the Colts Neck Police Department, did they have any recording devices or anything like that within the vehicles themselves?
They had MVRs. Okay.
Now going back to 2018, did the Colts Neck Police Department in 2018, did you guys have body worn cameras at that point in time?
We did not.
Okay. Do you recall approximately when Colts Neck Police Department ultimately received body worn cameras?
I believe either in 2019 or 2020, a few years later.
But as of November 20th, 2018, you did not have a body worn camera?
We did not.
Okay. You didn't possess one, the department didn't have any?
No, we did not.
Now, do you recall if at any point during your response to Willowbrook Road, was your recording in your vehicle, was it activated?
The recording activates once the lights are turned on in the vehicle.
Do you recall the nature of the call to Willowbrook Road?
I recall it was just coming over as a structure fire.
Okay, structure fire. I wasn't sure if you said it yet. I just wanted to, sorry. Now, when you learned of this incident, you said you have to activate your lights and sirens for the camera to come on, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, did you in fact, as part of your response, did you activate those lights and sirens?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so as a result of that, did you confirm later that your response was partially captured on video?
Yes,
Okay, and have you reviewed that video over the course of time or in preparation for testimony in this case?
yes, I've reviewed it.
And based upon your review of that motor vehicle recording, can you tell us whether or not it was actually accurate or appeared to be accurate based upon your recollection from that day?
Yes, it appeared to be accurate.
Now, as part of your preparation for trial, I want to ask you if you had the occasion to look at any of the your colleagues' MVR report.
I have seen it.
Okay. Now, going to show defense counsel S101 now, S102. Just going to show you first what's been marked already as S101 for identification. What is that?
Appears to be the MVR from my vehicle, car 23.
Okay, and it's on a DVD, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And like I said previously, S101, which appears to capture the MVR from your car number 23 on that date, you have reviewed it, correct?
yes,
And you said it was accurate?
yes, it was.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you also S102 for identification. You recognize that?
It is the MVR for patrolling the Caesars and at car 25.
Okay. Was he one of the other Colts Neck police officers that responded that day to 15 Willowbrook Drive?
Yes, he was.
And when you looked at least a portion of his MVR, did it appear to accurately capture, the surroundings of 15 Willowbrook and some observations of you and others?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Now, just quickly, so before we get into the actual video, you activate your lights and sirens and you drive to 15 Willowbrook Drive, right?
That's correct.
Can you just tell us generally before we watch it, can you just tell us like the route of travel or the approximate route of travel?
So leaving the firehouse, I would have to get onto Conover Road. I would come up to a light. I made a left onto State Route 34, and then I made a right onto Willowbrook Road.
You make a right onto Willowbrook Road, you said, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You turn onto Willowbrook Road, you start driving down the street?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know where 15 Willowbrook was, like off the top of your head?
I had not previously been to the residence.
Okay. So you find 15?
Yes.
What do you do?
I pulled into the driveway.
Okay. And is it a long driveway? Is it a short driveway? Medium?
Relatively long.
You have some long driveways in Colts Neck, I imagine, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, once you pulled into the driveway, where did you actually go with the vehicle?
I parked what appeared to be a safe distance from the residence,
Were you closer to the street, though, or closer to the
closer
house?
to the residence.
Now, I would just ask for permission to publish S101, the MVR for Officer Mazzucol, car number 23.
Mastellone? Okay. Got it.
Thank you, Judge. Now, just before we start, okay, so you have this video, if we could pause it, in front of you on the screen?
Yes,
Okay. And could you just tell us quickly what you see there?
it is the Colts Neck Fire Department, number 2.
Okay, is that where you were when you first learned of this call?
Yes, I was parked there.
Okay, we could play. Thank you. Now, as of right now, there's no sound, correct?
No, not yet.
And why is that?
In the MVR cameras devices, it usually, I think, a 30-second delay before there's audio.
Pause it for 1 second, just for purposes of the record. Is there a date and time on that video?
Yes, there is.
And what does it say?
11/20/2018 at 12:33 p.m.
Okay. And it indicates Colts Neck PD, and does it have your name and car number?
Yes, name and car number, yes.
You can continue. pause that for 1 second. Does did the audio start to come on?
Yes, it did.
Okay, and this intersection right here, what's the intersection?
It'd be Conover Road and Route 34.
Okay, so you are now going, is it fair to say you're about to make a left turn onto Route 34?
Yes,
Next to head, what direction?
to head northbound.
Okay. You can, now, did you see two individuals at the foot of the driveway there?
Yes, as I approached the house.
Okay, did you specifically have contact with either of those two individuals?
I spoke with the email subject.
Did you learn if he was one of the 911 callers?
At that time, I did not know if he was.
I'm pausing it now. Can you indicate the time on the video, sir?
Time is at 12:35 p.m.
Okay, now, to be clear, this just documented your arrival at 15 Willowbrook.
That's correct.
And when you were pulling up the driveway, did you make any initial observations relating to, the confirmation of potential structure fire?
I saw a haze above the residence.
Okay, you didn't, did you see smoke?
A light smoke, but no fire at that time.
Okay, so when you say no fire at that time, did you see any flames?
No visible flames too as I approached it.
Okay, now, okay, you can keep going. I'm sorry. Sorry. Were you the first police officer or any type of first responder on scene that day?
Yes, I was the responding first officer.
Did other officers eventually arrive?
Yes.
There's an officer on the scene.
That is me.
Pause. I'm sorry. I'll try not to lose too many times. But you start to head in another direction. Can you tell us where you're going and why?
To the northwest area of the house.
Okay. And was anyone over there at that point in time yet, or not?
I believe at that moment, Patrolman Miyakawa had shown up and had drawn my attention to the front yard.
Okay. And based upon him drawing your attention to the front yard, is that why you headed in that direction?
Yes.
And can you describe for us what, if anything, you found over in that area?
In the northwest corner of the residence, in the grass, we observed a body lying face down.
We're gonna get back to that in a second, but can we just keep going? tell us if you recognize who that individual is in the illustrate?
That is a Patrolman Savage at the time.
Okay. Did you see any other potential observations that were not there when you first arrived?
Flames are beginning to emanate from looks like the basement of the house.
I'm going to ask you where you are when this is going on, but just generally speaking, could you tell us where you were? We'll get into what you were doing later, but where you were.
On the west side of the residence.
The west side of the residence. Do you come back to the front of the home?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So do you see anyone reappear in the frame?
Yes, that's Patrolman Miyakawa and myself.
Okay, and who's in the front?
Patrolman Miyakawa.
Can you just tell us what you're doing here?
We're attempting to see if to gain access to the residence.
And what are you about to actually do there?
Open the door.
Okay. Fair to say, smoke came out before we opened it.
Yes.
Who's that?
Lieutenant assist.
Now, you talked about earlier, you did review portions of, I think you said Officer DeCaesar's MVR, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to ask to play that now, at least a portion of it.
Ms. Mastellone, any objection to this?
No, the state had already showed me that.
Okay.
Yes.
It's like a little bit of a different view on the screen, correct?
That is correct.
It's like a wide screen. Correct? Widescreen.
Widescreen, yes, that's correct.
Right. Does it indicate the same thing, Colts Neck Police Department, but the officer's name and car number?
That is correct.
Okay, and what's it say there?
CNPD Stephen DeCaesar, car number 25.
Okay. I'm gonna maybe try to fast forward just a little bit more, just for now. All right, we're just gonna go. Now, Officer DeCesar, for the record, he just arrived, correct?
That is correct.
What time is it on that clock?
12:38 PM.
Okay, and in that, in a portion of that video, do you see anyone there?
Yes, you can see myself and Patrolman Miyakawa.
Okay. Do you see anyone else near that tree near the driveway?
Yes,
And do you know who that is?
I do not recall.
Okay. Now, was there any point in time when anyone from your agency had interaction with one of the 911 callers?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that area where, can you just circle the area on the screen for purposes of, just to be clear, where you and Officer Miyakawa are right now?
This is 102.1.
Thank you. Okay. Can we keep playing? On the scene, or at least in the video. Do you know who that is?
That's Patrolman DeCesar.
So he's now exited that vehicle that's pulled up, and he's carrying something, right?
He's carrying first aid gear.
You or Officer Miyakawa are heading somewhere right now. Is that accurate based on the motor vehicle recording?
That's correct.
Okay, and where are you going?
We're heading toward the west side of the residence.
Now, why did you guys go over there?
We had viewed in an open door.
Now, ultimately, now does that NVR, does that run for like a significant period of time? Is there a time on the bottom of the screen?
3 hours and 42 minutes.
What, if anything, did you and DeCesar and anyone else, I think Savage, did you do with your vehicles at some point?
Once we was a confirmed structure fire, we moved them out of the driveway to move them out of the way so the fire department could then start attacking the flames.
So I want to just talk to you about that area where you're seeing and Miyakawa are seeing, and then the Caesar approaches. What was located in that area?
Body.
And who was the first person, officer-wise, to approach the body?
Patrolman Miyakawa.
And were you the next?
Yes.
Okay. What, if any, efforts did either one of you do to determine whether or not the person was actually alive?
We checked for a pulse.
Tell us what happened.
We approached the body. We checked for a pulse, and then we called that the subject was 1029, which means deceased.
And that was radio.
That was put over the radio.
Now, when you and on that video, when you and Miyakawa, you said went to the west. The body.
Yes, Patrolman deceased stayed with the body.
Can you just, for purposes of understanding, can you describe what the body ultimately looked like when you first encountered it?
The body was face down with his legs crossed. The arms were tucked underneath the body with the sweatshirt up, and I believe, to my recollection, the hood was up over the head.
Now, you and Miyakawa went around the west side, you said, correct?
That is correct.
And the Caesar did what?
He remained with the body.
Just showing defense counsel what's been marked as S1C, slide 131. Officer, you recognize this photograph or what's depicted in this photograph?
Yes.
Okay, what does that show?
The subject that we located on the front.
Does that fairly and accurately depict essentially what the body looked like when you encountered it?
Yes.
Permission to briefly publish.
Ms. Mastellone?
Objection.
Okay.
Again, is that essentially the way that the body looked when you found it?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you take it down? Now, talk about going around the west side of the house. Can I have slide one, S1C, slide 27, please? S1C, slide 27. Officer, do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes, that's the west side of the residence.
Okay. Now, you talked about previously encountering, or I think you said that you and Miyakawa went to the west side because you saw something open. What was that?
There was a doorway open.
Okay, and that doorway that was open, that observation you made, is it depicted in that photograph?
Yes, could be seen behind the retaining wall.
Okay. Can you see or can you point out within that picture from that angle what you saw?
Would you like me to circle it?
Yes, please. Can we capture that, please? Thank you.
Okay, so this will be S-1C 27.1.
Now, did you ultimately, did you and Officer Miyakawa, did you get closer to that? Did you approach that area?
Yes, we attempted to gain entry into the residence.
I'm going to show you, if I may, S1C, slide 120, 128, please. You can undo it. Yeah, perfect. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photo?
Yes, the door frame.
Okay, now, there's a cone there, correct?
That's correct.
Was that there when you encountered it?
When I was on scene, it was not there.
The lighting is different in this picture than when you encountered it, fair to say, right?
That is correct.
It's a little darker here.
Yes.
Yeah. Slide 129 of S1C as well. Is that just a closer up view of that door?
That's correct.
Now, can you just tell me what happened when you and Miyakawa actually approached that door?
We attempted to start going into the residence and we were backed off by smoke.
Okay. Now, I want to just be clear. Did you go in this, or did you attempt to go in this door first, or the one in the front that we watched a little bit earlier?
We attempted to go in this doorway first.
Okay. So, obviously, I wanted to play the MVRs, but you went here first to this door, and then back around to the front.
That is correct.
And were you able to make entry safely into either of those entryways?
No, thick smoke stopped us in both occasions.
And again, at this location right here, this door, when you attempted, at least made some sort of attempt to go inside, did you make any observations of anything other than smoke? Did you see flames?
At that time, it was just heavy, thick smoke.
Now, after trying to get in there, we know you went back around, correct?
That is correct.
And were other officers, other than the ones you've described so far, Savage, Miyakawa, and the Caesar, did other officers start coming?
Yes, the rest of our department started showing up.
And at some point thereafter, did any fire personnel or apparatus arrive?
Yes.
Okay, and was that response small, large, or something else?
Well, a very large response by our department.
Now, after you go to this door and then the front door, is that when you moved your vehicle, approximately?
Yes.
Okay, and did everybody move their vehicles?
Yes, all the patrol vehicles were moved out of the driveway.
And as far as your actions at the scene, once, everyone else from the department shows up and then all the fire personnel showed up, can you tell us generally what it is that you did or what you were told to do?
We used crime scene tape to make a border around the body, and then I was then designated to be at the end of the driveway doing a crime scene lock.
Just if I could have S1C slide 124 very briefly. You talked about crime scene tape. Can you explain that in relation to slide 124?
To preserve the area around the body, we attempted to use the crime scene tape. We used the trees to make a border around it so that it wasn't trampled or the fire department as they came on scene didn't get all over it.
Okay, and that photo, and if I didn't ask you about others, do they all accurately kind of show what it is you saw on November 20th, 2018 when you first arrived to Colts Snack at 50 in Willowbrook?
Yes, they did.
You can take that. Missing. Your Honor, I don't have any further questions.
Cross? Sure.
Good afternoon, sir, officer. I'm gonna approach you with what's been marked as D 1-301, 1-300, and 1-303. Do you recognize what is depicted in each of these three photographs, which I'm showing you at once?
I believe aerial views of the residence.
And when you say the residence, you're referring to 15 Willowbrook,
Yes, that's correct.
And these photos, they were, do you see the smoke in one of the photos?
Yes, I did.
And the responders on scene?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so this was, would you agree that this is taken like the day that you responded?
Yes,
Okay, and maybe these cars and trucks arrived after you were there, right?
yes, they arrived after.
Because you were pretty much the first officer there.
Yes, that's correct.
And before I publish these to the jury, would you be able to, if I put them on the screen, circle the doors that you found, the ones that were, I think one was open and one was unlocked? Do you see them depicted in these photos?
Yes, it's separate photos, yes, I can see.
Okay. All right, so let's start with. I'm going to start with D1-301. Okay. Officer, do you recognize this to be the residence of 15 Willowbrook, as you just mentioned?
Yes,
Okay, there's a stylist. Do we have that? Oh, perfect. Can you just circle, before you do anything, let me ask you this. Am I correct that there were two separate doors that you attempted to, or that you found to be either unlocked or opened?
that is correct.
Okay, let's start with the door that was open. Which door was open? Can you see it in this photo?
Not in this one.
Is it because can you point to, is it like here in this area? Or is it
Here, I'll circle.
How about an arrow? Can you point an arrow to where it would be? Okay, so it's around the back side of the house.
Yes, on the west side.
Because what we're looking at here is like, this is the front of the house, right?
That is correct.
With the driveway. Yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and so if you're facing the house and you walk around the back to the right, this is where you do the arrow, that's where the unlocked door is.
The open door.
Or sorry, the open door.
Yes.
Okay, can you just put an O for open? Okay, and where, do you see the unlocked door depicted in this photo? Maybe circle it or, okay, perfect. And can you do like a U for unlocked? Okay, thank you. Can you capture that one? Thank you so much.
301.1.
There is a button on the bottom that says undo. If you hold it down, it'll all come off at once. And now I'm going to show 1-300. Now, is this the back of the house of what we just saw?
Yes, this is the south side of it.
This is the opposite side.
That's correct.
Okay, to the best of your ability, can you again just circle or draw an arrow to where the open door was? So we can orient ourselves. Okay, now the unlocked door you probably can't see in this photo, right?
That's correct.
It's, if you want to just draw an arrow generally toward the front of the house, then, okay. All right.
Mastellone, you said that was 300 or 303? The one that's on there now?
300.
300, thank you. So that's 300.1.
Sir, not sure if you testified to this on direct, but do you recall when you found Mr. Keith Caneiro on scene? There was also a cell phone next to him?
That's correct. There was a cell phone.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Redirect.
No, thank you, Judge.
Sir, you can step down. Thank you. Prosecutor, call your next witness.
State Coast Detective Richard Zarillo.
Oh, sir, just watch your step as you come up. Put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, once you're comfortable and seated, can you state your full name and spell your last name, please?
Richard Zarillo, Zarrillo.
Thank you, prosecutor.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, detectives. Are you currently employed?
I am not.
Are you retired?
I am retired.
Where were you employed prior to your retirement?
I was employed with the Colts Township Police Department from 2003 till 2020.
Okay. What, if any, training did you have to become a police officer?
I attended the Monmouth County Police Academy.
Okay, and after that, did you go to Colts Neck or did you go someplace else?
I went to Colts Neck, a year in patrol, assigned to the Detective Bureau in 2004.
Where did you work prior to the Colts Neck Police Department and prior to the academy?
I worked for the New York City Fire Department as an emergency medical technician from 1992 until 2002 when I took my leave.
Now, back in November of 2018,
Yes,
you were a detective with the Colts Neck Police Department?
yes.
Okay, what were your hours like?
Typically 8:30 to 4:30 p.m.
I want to draw your attention specifically now to November 20th of 2018. Were you working that day?
I was.
And what, if any, notifications or dispatches did you receive at about 12:34 p.m.?
The dispatcher had dispatched patrols to a residential fire, and then later on it was believed that there was a body on the front lawn of the location.
Okay, did you get an address for that residential fire?
15 Willowbrook.
What did you do upon receiving that notification?
We waited until we had confirmation, and then myself and my partner at the time was Sergeant Santucci, and we responded to the location.
About what time did you arrive on scene?
Approximately 12:40, I believe.
And how did you get there?
Drove my assigned vehicle there
Were you by yourself or were you with someone else?
with Detective Sergeant Santucci.
Where did you park when you arrived?
On the northbound side of Willowbrook Drive, across from the structure.
Who was already present on scene when you got there?
I believe it was Patrolman Mazzucol, DeCesar, Miyakawa, and Savage had arrived as well.
At about the time you arrived, did any other officers then arrive as well?
From my department, they were sporadic when they got there.
Did any other agencies arrive on scene?
The fire department from Colts Neck and Naval Weapons Station all arrived on scene.
Can you tell us what your observations were when you first arrived at 15 Willowbrook?
Out there, I saw the structure, a couple of 100 feet off of the roadway, smoke coming out of one side of the structure.
Can you describe the property for us?
It's a large property, a few acres. The residence was a 2-story stucco structure. The front door was facing the north side of the roadway. So looking at the structure, the front door faces north on Willowbrook. The east side would be to my left, the west side would be to my right, which of the location.
Did you take note of any cameras or anything like that affixed to the house?
When I got onto the property, there were surveillance cameras on the exterior of the house.
Do you recall specifically where?
A couple on the corners again some time ago.
And did you take note of any solar panels?
There was a solar panel array on the west side of the property.
Were photos taken of this scene?
Yes,
Did you have an opportunity to view those photos?
at some point, yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked has S1C slide 5, S1C slide 124, 27, 128, 129, and 130, as well as S1E slide 24, 19, 22, and 23, and 21. Do you want to take a look at these? These are how it was.
Mr. Murray, do you have any objection to them being published?
We do not, Judge.
Okay, so we don't have to go through that step.
So we can just hold on one second. If we can please have S1C slide 5. Detective, can you just tell us what we're looking at here?
The front of the structure of the residence.
You recognize that?
Yes.
Just to orient us, if you're facing the house, the east side would be where?
East side would be to the left of the house.
Now, when you entered the scene, did you and Detective Santucci enter together?
We entered the property together. I believe at one point he went to talk with Officer Mazzucol and the 911 caller, and then I started my check of the structure in the scene.
Where specifically did you go first?
Patrolman DeCesar was with the deceased subject on the floor, and I went right to where he was first.
Okay, and where was that in relation to the home?
On the west side of the structure, on the corner.
Okay, and what specifically was he doing over there?
He was protecting the deceased at the time. Make
Is there
sure
any-
nobody was there.
Was there any tape already set up when you went over there?
I don't recall.
What, if any, notifications did you make at that time?
I notified the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office and asked for the major crime supervisor to contact me.
Can you describe what observations you made of the deceased subject?
He was prone or face down. He had a hoodie on. I could see there was a hole in the back of the hoodie, and I could see it looked like an injury. His hands were underneath him. His legs were crossed.
Did you learn the deceased's name at some point?
At some point, yes.
And what was that?
Keith Caneiro.
Did you learn whether or not he was the homeowner at 15 Willowbrook Road?
Yes, we did.
When you first observed Keith's body, was anything covering him?
No, it was not.
Shortly thereafter, did somebody provide something to cover up the body?
I believe we got a sheet from the first aid squad to cover him.
And then after that, was there something else?
Red tarp was put on top of it.
Did you do anything at that point to check Keith's body?
Yes, I rolled him over to check to see if he was deceased. He was pulseless and breathless. There was red blood, what I believe to be blood, solidified underneath him.
And did you make any other observations about the body?
He was stiff to the touch.
Now, how long did you remain on the scene for?
For several hours, I was at the scene.
And did Keith's body remain in that location the entire time?
Once I finished, I rolled him back into the position I found him, and then he was covered and stayed there until the medical examiner's office removed him.
We could please have the slide. That's 1E, slide 24. Slide 25, I'm sorry.
25?
Detective, can you just explain to us what we're looking at here?
We're looking at the deceased covered with a sheet on the east side of the west side of the structure.
Now, what is behind where the body was located?
There's a tree, and then right behind the tree is the meter pan assembly, where the meter is to the house.
After you examined Keith's body, where did you go?
I went to the corner of the house where the meter is,
Okay, what if any observations did you make while you were over there?
that the electrical service meter was removed from the panel and the can cover was on the ground,
And where was the meter?
also on the ground.
Are you able to see on the ground where they are right now from this picture? Did you make any observations about the electrical service box itself at that point?
It was open, the wires were exposed, and there was a handle. Later found out it's called a bypass handle that was in the down position.
What do you mean with the bypass handle? What is that?
It's used to secure the meter in place. It's also used to bypass electrical service.
So when you get to the scene and you make these observations, about how long was it after you were on scene that you make these observations?
Within a few moments of me being there.
Okay. And while you were on scene, did you see anybody over in that particular area at any point?
No,
Okay. Was JCP&L there at that point?
they were not.
Can I please have slide, S1A, slide 19, that should be this. Now, did anyone make contact with you while you were over by the meter area?
Yes.
And who was that?
One of the Colts neck firefighters, Dave Paulson.
Okay, and specifically, what, if anything, did he direct your attention to?
He said on one of the back porches of the house, he observed what he believed was a live intact bullet on the ground.
Okay. When you say a live intact bullet, can you just explain what that is?
Bullet has two main components plus the powder, three main components plus the powder. The bullet itself was the shell casing, and the projectile was still in the front of the bullet. So that would make it an intact, or I believe to be live round at that point.
Okay. And when he informed you of that, what, if anything, did you do as a result of that?
I left Officer DeCesar with the deceased. I went to the location, I observed the round, and I requested somebody bring me a traffic cone from one of the patrol cars.
Okay. What did you do with that?
I covered the round where it was for evidentiary value.
Where in relation, if you could, and we'll come back to the photos, but where in relation to Keith's body was that bullet?
He was found on the side of the home off the corner. That was, 50, 100 feet difference from where he was.
Were there any doors that were near that area where that live round was found?
Yes.
Okay, and did you notice anything about those doors?
One of them was open. Fire operations were ongoing inside the house, so I couldn't tell if it was they who opened it or it was open prior to that.
What, if any, notifications did you make at that point?
I was in touch with Sergeant Chapman from the prosecutor's office, advised him of the scene and what we had observed, and he said that his office would be sending officers to help us.
Did you speak to anyone else after him?
I'm sure, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Do you recall speaking to a detective, Brian Weisbrot?
Yes. Of the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. He had contacted me after I spoke with Detective Sergeant Chapman.
Now, what, if any, information did you provide at that point to Detective Weisbrot?
He asked if I knew the homeowner's name, and I did. I told him it was Keith Caneiro, and he advised me that he was at a...
Objection. Sustained.
I just want to know what you told him.
I told him that I was at the residence of Keith Caneiro.
Okay. Were you made aware of any other? Wait. Was there an objection?
Not again.
Okay. Were you made aware?
Was there? I didn't hear it.
I thought I heard something
I
else.
objected, I objected previously.
Before, and I sustained it.
Yes,
Oh.
There's not a second one.
there was
I
not.
just didn't hear it.
Oh, that's okay. I'm hearing things. It's fine.
Were you made aware of any other investigations that were happening in Monmouth County without telling me anything anyone said? Were you made aware of anything?
Yes.
And what specifically were you aware of?
Objection.
Residential.
What's the objection? I'm sorry.
That's hearsay again, I'm sorry.
Don't say anything that anyone else says to you. You can only say what you said to that particular person.
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay? So re-ask your question so it's appropriate that he can answer it. I'll sustain the objection if there was hearsay to it. Go ahead.
Were you made aware of any, or did you know about any other investigations that were occurring at this time?
I learned of another fire
Okay, and where was that?
in Monmouth County in Ocean Township.
Did you learn the homeowner's name there of that fire?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that?
Paul Caneiro,
What was the address?
27 Tilton Drive.
Now, at this point, are fire operations in full force at 15 Willowbrook Road?
Yes, fire operations were ongoing for quite some time there.
After you spoke with Detective Weisbrot, what, if any, other information did you learn about the inside of 15 Willowbrook Road?
That there were additional deceased victims inside the house.
Okay, and specifically, where were those additional deceased victims located?
One was in the kitchen, one was next to the staircase, and one was on the landing of the staircase.
When you say the landing of a staircase, can you be more specific?
The staircase going from the first floor to the second floor, there was a deceased victim on the floor prior to the steps, and at the halfway point, there's a landing connecting the staircases.
What, if anything, did you advise firefighters to do or not do when you learned that information?
I asked them not to move any of the victims if possible, unless it was because of fire operations or for safety concerns.
And why is that?
In the event that there was evidence to be collected or how the victims were found, we wanted it to remain intact as much as possible.
Now, despite your advisement, what, if anything, happened a short while later?
One of the victims was brought out of the residence.
Okay, can you explain what, if anything, you observed about that?
It was a young female child that was brought out of the residence.
And how was the child brought out?
She was carried by a couple of firefighters, partially clothed. They were on the ground in front of the garage area, and then ultimately covered her as well.
Did you learn her name at some point?
Sophia Caneiro.
And did you learn her age?
I believe she was 8 years old.
What observations did you make of the little girl's body at that point?
She had what looked like stab wounds on her.
Was Sophia covered up with anything?
We covered her with a sheet.
I want to draw your attention now to about 1:15, 1:30 p.m. Who else arrived on scene at that point?
I believe there were detectives from the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office that arrived on scene.
From what? I'm sorry.
From the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, Forensics Unit.
Forensics, okay. And do you know, generally speaking, what their role was on the scene?
In larger scenes, the county office comes out to assist. They'll photograph the scene, collect any evidence, process any evidence that's collected at the scene.
And as they are arriving on scene, do other detectives also arrive on scene at some point from any other agencies?
From the prosecutor's office as well, from the major crimes unit.
Okay. And is there a point in time when you're sharing information that you've already learned with them?
Yes.
Now, do you recall, or I should ask you this, did you have a counterpart? Were you the lead detective in this case?
For Colts Township, yes.
Did you have a counterpart from the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office Major Crimes Unit as a lead detective?
Yes, Detective Patrick Petrozello.
What time approximately did he arrive on scene?
I'm not really sure of the times. It wasn't that much long later.
Do you recall who the first crime scene unit detective was from the prosecutor's office to arrive?
Detective Flanagan, I believe.
When he arrived, what did he do?
I explained to him what was going on, and then he just started photo documenting the scene.
I want to draw your attention now, to about 2:30 p.m. Were fire suppression efforts still underway at that point?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, what was placed in the driveway area at that point next to the garage?
Requested a pop-up tent be set up
And what was the purpose of that?
to cover the victims.
So just to be clear, were the victims' bodies moved underneath the pop-up tent?
Yes.
Did there come a time when the two remaining deceased individuals inside the house were removed from the house?
Yes.
Okay, can you describe how they were removed from the home?
Also by firefighters, they were extracted from the residence. The little boy was brought out. I don't know if I have the order correct, I'm sorry. The boy was brought out, also partially clothed. He had wounds on him as well, possibly stab wounds. And then an adult female was brought out of the residence. She was burned very, very badly, full thickness burns to see muscle structure on her body.
Did you learn the little boy's name?
Jesse,
Jesse Caneiro?
yes.
And did you learn his age?
I believe he was 11 at the time.
Now, at around that time, did the structural integrity of 15 Willowbrook Road become a concern?
Yes.
And what, if anything, was requested of firefighters at that point?
They said that the structure, where they weren't sure what the stability of it, they asked if they could find any kind of electronics, DVR, video recording equipment that could be removed from the structure.
And why did you make that request?
Seeing cameras on the outside, if there were any recordings of what went on prior to this, we wanted to see that.
And as a result of that request, what, if anything, did you see them do?
They did remove some electronic equipment from the location.
Now, were family members of the deceased identified or spoken to that afternoon?
Yes, by members of the investigative team.
Okay, do you recall who specifically was spoken to?
We spoke with Jennifer's parents, I believe, was spoken to at our headquarters or at the prosecutor's office. And I know that all Caneiro's family was spoken to by members as well. And at some point, Corey was spoken to.
Okay, and who's Corey?
Corey is also a brother in the Caneiro family.
Okay, and was there also a babysitter that was spoken to?
Yes, she was later identified and spoken to.
Were there any concerns about her potentially being in the house at some point?
Yes, earlier, when we realized that there were people still unaccounted for at the early onset of the scene, one of the neighbors had said that there may have been a babysitter that they hadn't seen, and that's what we were looking for as well.
At about a little after 4 p.m., what agency arrived on scene?
Probably the medical examiner's office arrived on the scene.
Okay, and what did they do?
They were there to confirm the deceased and then assist in the investigation, process the victims, and then remove them to their office.
Okay. Were you with them when they were examining the victims' bodies?
Yes.
Okay. Did you make any further observations about the children?
We was able to see the multiple stab wounds in both children.
And did one child appear to have a wound in some place in particular?
Sophia had a knife wound, I believe, in her left eye and on her head.
As part of your job as a detective in Colts back in 2018, was there anything that you would review on a daily basis when you arrived to work in the morning?
Every morning I would review the last 24 hours worth of calls.
When you say calls, what kinds of calls would you be reviewing?
Any dispatch or a car stop or any interaction that the officers had in the last 24 hours, I would see every call for service.
And how specifically would you review those calls?
The dispatch system at the time was such that we could run a report with parameters based on times in our area of responsibility.
When you got to work that morning, so prior to you responding to the scene, when you got to work on the morning of November 20th of 2018, did you review the calls from the night before?
I did.
Okay, and at some point in time while you were on scene, did you recall anything about what you reviewed?
Yes.
And what was that?
Approximately at 3 a.m., there was a call for shots fired.
And where specifically was that
I
call?
believe it was in the area of Rivers Edge Drive, and Patrolman Zoppi responded to the location.
Do you know what the outcome of his response was?
At the time, it was unfounded. There was nothing heard or seen at the time.
Did you learn the name of the person that made that call to 911?
I believe it was Kapora with the last name.
And you indicated, where did that call specifically come from?
Laird near River's Edge.
What was the distance in mileage, if you could, between that area and 15 Willowbrook Road?
2 to 3 miles difference.
Now, we talked about how some of the family members of the deceased were identified and spoken to that day.
Yes.
Did there come a time when officers spoke with the victim Keith's brother Corey Caneiro?
Yes.
Okay, and his wife Elisa?
Yes.
Okay, generally speaking, where did that occur?
Lisa was spoken to, I believe, Township police officers at some point, and then later in the day, I spoke with Corey Caneiro, with Detective Petrozello.
When was contact made with Corey?
Later, about 7 p.m.-ish, 7:30-ish,
Okay, and where was he located at that point?
in Pennsylvania.
Okay, and do you know why he was located there?
Objection.
I'm going to sustain it. The only way to know it is through hearsay.
At some point, did you have the opportunity to speak with Corey?
Yes.
Okay, and how did that come about?
Detective Petrozello contacted him and arranged for a meeting with him. Said he advised us he was in Pennsylvania and he would meet us out there.
Okay, and specifically, did you meet him that night?
Yes.
Okay, and about how long did it take you to get? Let me ask you this: when did you leave the scene?
Probably close to 7:30 or 8 o'clock in that area.
Okay, and where specifically did you go?
To the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania Police Department.
Okay, when you got there, about what time was it?
I believe it was about
What time?
9:30-ish.
Okay, and who arrived shortly thereafter?
Keith Caneiro arrived shortly after.
Okay, and did you get to speak with him that night?
We did.
Who did you talk to?
Keith Caneiro.
No.
I'm sorry, Corey Caneiro. My apologies.
How long were you and Detective Petrozello speaking with him for?
1 to 2 hours.
Okay, and what, if anything, did you advise him at the conclusion of that meeting?
That we would meet with him again to possibly take a formal statement
Okay, and did you in fact meet with him again to take a formal statement?
the following day
Okay, and where was that?
at the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office.
Prior to leaving the Bethlehem Police Department, were you and Detective Petrozello in contact with the investigative team?
Yes.
Now, when you left the Bethlehem Police Department, where did you go?
We responded back to the scene at 15 Willowbrook.
And what time was that about?
Might have been close to 11:30.
So now are we into November 21st of 2018?
We're getting into the following day, yes.
And what, if any, observations did you make of the scene at that point?
Fire operations had concluded. There was a manned engine company there for fire watch, and members of Colts Township and the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office were on scene securing it.
All right, let's stop it there. We're going to stop it there for the day. Too early, but I like you guys. So I feel like this is a good place to stop before we continue on. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to send you home for today. You'll be back here same time tomorrow morning. We may tomorrow take a witness out of turn. Sometimes we do that. If that's the case, we end up doing that. I'll let you know and we'll talk about that. But just go home tonight. Don't discuss this case. Don't do any research. You learned a lot of information today. Just keep it all in your head. But that's where it stays. Just have a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Okay, so jury is being dismissed. I'm going to wait a moment, leave the feed up to see if the judge has things to discuss with the attorneys before they adjourn for the day. The fact that he's talking about an out-of-turn witness could be that they're going to have oral arguments and bring perhaps one of the adult daughters of Paul Caneiro in to discuss this allegation. I don't know. I'm not sure where this is going. I don't think that the information that Monika Mastellone actually got out of Lieutenant Brady was sufficient for the allegation. To me, it seems they were doing their job. They had concerns. I don't know where it's going at this point, but I hope to find out. I will say that Mr. Caneiro looks a little more concerned than usual. I'm not sure he's as pleased as how things have been going. They have information, the defense, that they want to get out there to the jury, but it's how you do it and how it appears to the jury. And I don't know how this is going to play, all of this arguing back in front of them, Mastellone and the attorney, or Murray, Mastellone and Murray with the judge in the prosecution.
It's just
I'm not
scheduling,
sure.
we can go off the record. Off Zoom.
Mm-hmm. This is just scheduling, okay.
So, we thinking we're gonna take people out.
So they're off the record. I want to see if he says anything on the record, so we're going to hang out for a little bit. Paul can, of course, listen to everything that they're discussing. I wonder if he'll come back on the record before they leave for the day. Monika Mastellone did win her oral argument in order to ask the question of Lieutenant Brady. However, I'm not sure it played out the way she thought. There really wasn't anything there that sounded to me out of the ordinary, considering that they just had another murder and a fire in the family, concerned for not knowing what's going on at that point. Nobody knows. This is the day of the incidences. And they already suspect Paul Caneiro of arson in his own home, having nothing to do with any of the other charges. He was arrested the very next day and charged for that arson. They definitely had enough to go by there. I mean, all of the other charges came forth later. It was about a week later that he was charged with the murders in the second fire. And then it wasn't until the next year that he was charged with all of the fraud and everything else that was going on after the investigation for financial crimes came in from the allegations. It's important to note that the defense keeps bringing up Corey, and according to the articles that go all the way back to the beginning when this happened and what was released and what was put there for notable crimes, when we could get some information on this before everything was clamped down, that it was Corey's wife who contacted detectives on the case very shortly after being notified of Keith's passing and the whole family's passing. Corey had taken their children to Pennsylvania to be with his parents for concerns of safety, since there were fires in both houses and 4 of their relatives were now gone. And at that point, she relayed all the information that Corey had given to her about emails he received.
Logistical things. Sir, you're going to come back tomorrow, so obviously tonight, if you could just do us a favor of not talking to anybody about it. You're basically sequestered through the course of this. You can't speak to the prosecutor's office or anybody else. You'll be back here tomorrow morning. There may be a little bit of a delay because we may go into 2 other witnesses and then come back to you. So I just ask for you to be patient with us a little bit. We'll try not to go too far into your retirement. All right. So you're excused for the day. Everybody, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:30 to continue on with the testimony. I hope everyone has a good night. Please be safe. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, as I was saying, it was Corey's wife who was giving information to the detectives about what the conversation between Keith and Corey. They started the investigation into fraud, the disability fraud, the fraud for the trust accounts, all of it, which made Paul Caneiro the primary suspect at the time, giving motive. They did have an interview with Corey Caneiro and his wife, and they did talk to many people involved in this. What is true about that statement is that they never made him a suspect he was eliminated pretty quickly in giving information forward in where he was, alibi, means, access. There was a strong motive revealed almost immediately, so we can understand where the focus was. And I know that is something that the defense attorneys are trying to convince the jury was absolutely not correct to do. But they went with the information that they had and they investigated it. And well, is it true that they never put Corey under a microscope? True. He was never indicted. But it's not true that he did not talk to prosecutors, because he did. That contact started immediately through the wife. And he had left with his children to be safe to another state. The whole family was concerned, including Jennifer's family, everyone. I mean, this was very upsetting. In the first week that all of this happened, nobody knew what to do. Everybody was afraid. Having both of those fires and a whole family annihilated, it did look as if the Caneiros were being targeted. And this is the prosecution's angle as far as motive, is that's exactly what Paul wanted in setting fire to his own home, which again, I reiterate, was the only thing he was charged with in the beginning because of the evidence they found at his home at the time of that fire being set. And it was Paul's own statements that made him the primary suspect. He was misleading the patrolmen and the detectives, and it was quite evident early. They got a grand jury indictment less than a week later. Those aren't easy to get. That's it for today. We're going to start tomorrow, and they are bringing this retired detective back for more. But we do have other witnesses in the morning, but another day. Have a good one. And on to day 5.